My girlfriend's best friend claims her and I hooked up last night. How do I handle this situation? Yesterday was my girlfriend's birthday, so we had a small get-together at our place to celebrate a bit. A few of her friends came as well as some of mine and we had a great time. I'll preface this next part by saying I'm not a big drinker, never have been. I'll literally go months without, it's just never been a huge part of my life. With that said, I'm definitely not a lightweight, but there was a lot of alcohol flowing and plenty of shots to go around. Towards the end of the night my girlfriend was pretty wasted and she was feeling very nauseous. After she vomited I helped her get changed and laid her down in bed. I told her I'd be back in a bit to join her once I got everyone safely on their way home. This is where things go a bit sideways. Her best friend was super wasted and wasn't being very cooperative when I was trying to get her new address to call her an Uber home. She lays down on the couch and I decided, screw it, she can sleep there and we'll get her home in the morning. Now at this point I'm pretty drunk too, but even when I'm drunk I'm the responsible one of the group and I'm super aware of where everyone is and that they're safe. After that I really don't remember much. I woke up in bed next to my GF this morning as I should. I asked her how she was feeling and she said not great and that she had a headache, so I got up to go grab her some more water and some Tylenol from the bathroom. As I'm walking down the hall I notice her best friend just sitting on the couch with her head in her hands, so I asked if she was okay and if she needed anything. She looks up at me with this scared look on her face and says we need to talk about what happened last night, and needless to say I was extremely confused. Only thing I could think of to say was what. She goes on to state that we hooked up last night and that we need to tell my GF what happened. Now my head is spinning and I feel sick to my stomach. I literally have no clue what she's talking about and I told her that. She gets a notification on her phone that her Uber arrived and she gets up walking to the door and says if you don't tell her, I will, and she walks out. I have no clue what to do now. I'm pretty positive I didn't hook up with her. I've been with my girlfriend for 2.5 years and I've recently been looking at engagement rings. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. I'm so in love with her and she's my world. I've never cheated in any relationship I've had. But I can't just go tell my girlfriend this happened when I'm pretty sure it's just her best friend having some weird drunk dream. But on the other hand, if her best friend tells her that it did, I have to assume she'll believe her over me. They've been friends for 15 years. I've been sick all day just thinking about how I'm about to lose the love of my life because her wasted friend thinks something happened between us. I'm at a loss right now on how to handle all this. Comment. At this point it's probably better for you to talk to your GF about it before the friend does. Also, you aren't 100% positive that you did not hook up with her? First one to HR gets believed. Tell your GF that her friend is claiming you hooked up, but you didn't and you don't know what she's talking about. Maybe she had a really vivid dream and thought it was real, maybe she was betting on you being blackout drunk and unable to remember going to bed, but either way, you need to be the first one to talk to your GF. Absolutely this. Talk to your GF, explain everything as you've done here. You 100% did not make a move on the friend, that you were very drunk but remember the end of the night exactly as described, and that you woke up, still in your clothes from the night before and in bed with her. Is happening with friend, she thinks you made a move but is too drunk to remember. Maybe someone else made a move and she thought it was you. Maybe she dreamt it? Does she have any reason to lie? Yup. In my life I've found that people generally tend to believe the first version of events they hear, and once they hear it, you have a heightened burden of proof to convince them of the truth. My parents always taught me to take the high road growing up, and the end result is that when I have been wronged in my life, I don't confront the issue head on, and too many people have ended up believing falsehoods about me. Dude, get ahead of this and talk to your GF and tell her what her friend accused you of. And then let shit go how it will. Don't let anyone else gain control the narrative. But here on out you better think of some CYA measures like cameras etc, provided that OTS legal where you are. On top of that, scale back on the hard partying around the company you keep. Let this be a hard-learned lesson to you. Next story 2. What is the kindest way for me to clearly tell a friend we don't want him bringing his new girlfriend, F30, and her child on a group holiday? What is the kindest way to clearly tell a friend we don't want him bringing his new girlfriend and her child on a group holiday? So next year, my friend of 25 plus years is getting married abroad. A group of us have long been friends since primary school and still see a lot of each other, socialize often, and our partners are now friends etc. We're all going abroad for the wedding. My friend is staying at the wedding venue and a group of us, myself and partner, 2 mates and their partners, 3 single friends, all 28 to 30, decided to make a holiday of it and booked an all-inclusive hotel. We put the details into a group chat so some other couples we know were invited could stay at the hotel we as a group have decided to go. Anyway, fast forward a few months and one of the single lads has now met someone and has gone pretty quickly with them. He has been seeing her around 3 months, and whilst he seems happy, there's been a few minor red flags, like her wanting him to spend on expensive meals and gifts etc., expecting him to pay for the dates and babysit for her. None of the group have met her though, so I want to suspend my judgment. She has a child from a previous relationship that is developmentally some years behind where she should be and is being tested for some neurodivergence due to behavioral issues. He wants to bring his girlfriend and her child with him to the holiday. She's not invited to the wedding day, but he seems to have absent-mindedly forgotten that this impacts a larger group for him to book the hotel we'd agreed on. None of us have kids yet and don't want to spend our holiday with one, and we've never even met his girlfriend, albeit would welcome the opportunity to do so. I know it sounds selfish, but the group is in agreement that we're uneasy him expecting us to be fine with him bringing his girlfriend and her child. I know my mate and he will want to do everything with us as a group. I want to talk about it with him and would appreciate any words of advice, as it will upset him and make him feel we're excluding him somewhat, but the group does feel strongly about not wanting to share the holiday we plan together with any child. I appreciate this comes across as a touch entitled and selfish, but I also feel it's presumptuous and unfair on my friend's part. I also think it's way too soon for them to be booking a holiday abroad together that's 10 months away, when they've been seeing each other 3, including her child, at his massive expense. Comment. I would leave the girlfriend out of the conversation altogether. You may disapprove of her and feel they're moving too fast, and I'm not even saying you're wrong, but someone in the throes of new relationship energy is likely going to have blinders on about her and won't want to hear any criticism of her. Instead, I'd lead with the information that everyone in your friend group has agreed that they'd prefer the trip be child-free. That will probably end up excluding the girlfriend, too, by default. I just want to jump in here to say, don't be the only one to approach your friend about this. I read a post not too long ago where the op got torpedoed after asking a single mom in her friend group to not bring her child to all of their get-togethers. The other friends were in agreement, but when the mom friend got upset they threw up under the bus. It was a mess. I'd recommend a couple of you speaking to him together. I second you having another person from the group with you to reinforce that this is not up for debate. The group has decided that they will not be accommodating a child. It's easier to talk around one person, especially if that person already feels badly. What is needed is clear and firm communication. Two can back each other up where one may find themselves talked over. It would be incredibly unfair to the poor child to expect her to go on holiday designed for adults with a bunch of people she's never met, especially if she's got developmental delays and behavioral issues. I'm with the other commenters, say it's an adult holiday that is not going to be appropriate for a kid. How about something like this? Friend, you know we all love you and are looking forward to all being together at Lucy and Ricky's wedding. However, we have some concerns about your plans to bring Ethel's son with you, as the holiday is definitely an adult-themed trip. Given that Ethel isn't invited to the wedding, and her child wouldn't be able to join in with the events we have planned surrounding the wedding, perhaps they can sit this one out. Now, he may decide he doesn't care, and that he'll bring them regardless. And if that happens, you and your other friends shouldn't change your adult events to accommodate the child. Don't exclude them from things that are kid appropriate, but if you change all your plans then the group will likely end up resenting him. Tell him the truth. His new GF isn't invited to the wedding and it's a closed-door event. Nor is she invited on the activities that you have planned which aren't child appropriate. Some of which would probably look a bit sketchy to GF if he went without her. Not offense, but nobody knows her. She has no relationship to the bride or groom and doesn't belong. Tell him probably the easiest way of placating the groom as well as his new girlfriend would be to fly out to the wedding then turn around and fly back the next day. Next story 3. My girlfriend doesn't want me as her wedding date. Backstory: my girlfriend and I went out for the first time about 10 months ago. I hadn't realized then, but she had just gotten out of a long and very serious relationship basically without any warning. She was shocked, hurting, confused, and I think just looking for a fun casual night. I suppose we hit it off way better than expected and started seeing each other pretty consistently. She was clear she wasn't ready to jump into anything too quickly, but soon enough we were essentially boyfriend/girlfriend. Going out 1-2x a week, texting every single day, and, as far as I know, not seeing other people. Around the holidays I met her family, and although we really got it off, I think it freaked her out a bit. She continued to text daily, but barely. She didn't want to come over and made excuses to not go out. After a month we saw each other finally, and things went back to the way they were. In May a similar thing happened, and we actually stopped talking for a week. After that week she reached out, we talked and went out. While out to dinner she and I both acknowledged how hard it was to not talk to each other, how we felt, and she asked me for us to be official. I felt the same and was elated to say yes. Since being official, she met my family, I've spent some more time with hers, we did too many trips together, and I even joined her family vacation for a few days. The family loves me and her little sister is getting married in about a month. It's my impression that the sister and her fiancé, who also loves me, wanted me at the wedding, and basically said things to me just assuming I was going. I know it can be a pain to invite guests later in the game, so it really means a lot. The issue is that my girlfriend hasn't invited me, and has basically told me she doesn't really know if she wants me there. My girlfriend is the maid of honor and she and her sister are absolutely best friends. I guess she feels like with it not only being her sister, but also her best friend, there's a lot of pressure on her/us about having me there. She doesn't want the pictures and memories for the rest of her life to feature one guy she was dating at the time. By the time of the wedding we'll have basically been seeing each other for a year, though maybe only made it official for 4-5 months. I don't feel like I'm just some guy and can't help but feel offended. I know this probably has to do with her last relationship ending abruptly and without warning. I think she's still learning how to trust again. But at the same time, it feels like she's telling me we aren't going to make it, and if she chooses to not have me there it becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I've tried to ask a little about it a few times but she honestly gets so worked up and stressed out when it comes to this wedding that I don't want to mention it to her anymore. At this point I haven't been officially told anything either way, invited or not. Comment. It seems like her last relationship is still clearly having an effect on her. I would encourage you to have a sit-down talk without judgment and see whether overall anxiety is where it ends, or if she really doesn't see it working out between you two. Otherwise I think a year, official or otherwise, is more than enough to warrant an invite to the wedding. Personally, if at this point she wasn't taking the relationship seriously I'd walk away. However, I'd encourage you to hear her out first. A lot of signs there of it being a rebound. I mean, come on. These hot and cold games of not talking then talking again. This is immature. I understand why she is feeling the way she does, but it's time he walks away and finds someone who is 100% sure about him and not quit randomly talking to him for a week. A general wedding I would agree. But this is not just a family wedding but her sister. I can understand not wanting to risk having him in those photographs since she'll live with those photos the rest of her life or until the couple divorce. One compromise could be he can attend wedding but avoid being in the core photos of wedding party. In my view he needs to give her this as something she does solo. Forcing himself there could actually do more long-term damage. Yes, couples do couple things together but couples also occasionally need to do things solo. Doesn't sound like she's aiming for a free night to cheat or get her yayas out. This is deeply intimate family thing. Sure, firmly say he wants to go and point out others want him there but no pressure and let her decide and then suck it up.